Hello and welcome back to another episode of Character Inspiration with Cow. Ooh, wrong one. I do that, you know. Today's episode is going to be Human Fighter. So fighters are just highly trained in whatever they do. You know, whether it's sword and board or two-weapon fighting or archery. That's why at level 1 they get the ability to pick a fighting style. Unlike, I think, most other ones. Like, I think Rangers have to wait till 2. Paladins, I don't remember. No, Paladins have to wait till 2. Fighters have been doing this a while, so that's really all they do. So, like every time, I have a good, neutral, and evil. So my good aligned human fighter is a purple dragon knight, and I will actually dragon space knight, not purple dragon knight like Pokemon. They're warriors from Cormier. Oh, turn that up a little bit. They're specific to an area. So this one, obviously, much like a Red Wizard of Fey, requires you to be from the specific area. But there is no reason that it could not work from some other region. As it says, serves as a generic name for this archetype, Banneret. So you could just be a Banneret from a different region. They have a very specific job. And they're actually pretty good. Especially, you know, once you get to 3, when you use your second wind, you can heal your allies equal to your fighter level, which is actually pretty good if you're playing in a game where your cleric doesn't do anything for healing. If they're deciding to go a different direction and maybe you don't have the money. So you don't want to spend money on healing potions all the damn time. So I went with I actually drew from this book for a lot of the Inheritor. So this character, when they were, you know, they joined the Order at a young age to be like their father, because and then at some point their father went missing, and all they were able to get back from wherever he went is the sword. That's why I went with Inheritor. You inherited your family's sword. And part of me wants it, like, as a character, as a player, work with your GM or player. I like the idea that, I don't know if they have it in 5th edition, but I think in 3rd edition it's like, what magic items that level with you. And so, having this sword be a family heirloom, and maybe your father was able to get all of the code words or whatever that unlock it, and it allows it to start being magical. And then maybe it, however it works, you know, the GM gets to decide, but you want to find out maybe what it can do, also where your father went, and or maybe oh, it just popped into my head, maybe you have to unlock more of it, and that's kind of could be a great, it says great story hook, and maybe you have one word and it just, you know, unlocks a little thing. Like maybe it has a couple of spells that it can do. Like it can cast light, or prestidigitation to keep itself clean, stuff like that. Like basic cantrips maybe, and then kind of like it'd be even cooler if it's like the dragon's soul sword or something like that, and you have to kill dragons, like Skyrim, or something like that. Like that's kind of, it just popped into my head. I had a basic idea, but now it's more exciting. That's a good direction to go. You have this sword. It's faintly magical, but because you only know a couple of you only know one keyword or trigger word, maybe you could get legend lore it, but maybe it's immune to legend lore for some reason. So that way or maybe that's how your father got the one keyword, and that's all. And it has a name. Maybe it could be sentient, and maybe it talks to you. This would actually also be a good thing if you wanted to go warlock, I suppose. That'd be pretty dope. But you have your person that talks to you as a warlock, so probably not. But you have this sword, and you can adventure and try to figure out keywords to unlock more of its potential. And, you know, as a GM, come up with different things that it can do, depending on keywords. Like, play into it, because that would be, like, the thing that irritates me is, I'm in a couple of games, and every time I join a game, I was kind of like metagame my character, be like, what kind of badass build do I want to go with now? And then I'll kind of be like, yeah, and like the character, while I'm building the character kind of comes to me, and so the background, what background I want to go with, what their story, and so then I write their backstory. Excuse me. And I write their backstory and figure everything out. And then I write a backstory, and then maybe the GM doesn't use it, or there are players who don't write a backstory. They're just like, I just did this. And it's like, what's the point of playing a role-playing game if you're not going to build this great backstory, and to, like, you're trying to play this character and live as this character. So anyway, this would be a great use of this background specifically, which I think is kind of the point of it. But it would be a great thing to build into around a campaign, per se. Maybe other characters have stuff. I mean, maybe not everybody's an inheritor, but everybody has a family heirloom or something. And you take this background, so yours is kind of more powerful, but maybe somebody has a shield, or somebody has a wand, or robes, or whatever, a bow, but a bow could be magical, so as a weapon. But so it's kind of up to you as a player, and you as a GM, to figure out how to kind of go forward. But it'd be kind of cool to unlock runes that unlock more magic in this weapon. So take that as you will. Yeah, and so neutral, I went human, samurai. Okay, I have to. Boop. Samurai. So, you know, people think of samurais, they always think of, like, the noble warrior, which they were, but there were samurais, you know, what is it, Ronin, who, I mean, they're soldiers. They're Asian soldiers, not Japanese. I think they're Chinese, but they're soldiers. And I think because of the cinema and stories, they sound a lot cooler and more noble. And they are, but I mean, there are soldiers everywhere who do evil things. So, but this one's not. You're not evil. You're not good. You kind of just wander around. So samurai, very good fighters, which is stereotypically based on the East, the unapproachable East. So I went with Far Traveler. I kind of played into that. Your character is from Kara-tur. What are you doing? Oh, baby, what are you doing? You're from Kara-tur, which is the unapproachable East. And you kind of grew up, and you joined the samurai order. You know, you went to and got the training and all of that to get, and you know, you probably were part of a group at some point, and then when your service was done, maybe you decided to just wander around getting into fights. And that's actually why, if you look at option number 2, you're an exile. I'm kind of basing this off a character I'm playing on the One Shot Friday game. Essentially, you got challenged to a duel, and you killed the guy, which is technically illegal. Killing people is illegal, but it was a duel. But this was like a noble's son. And so, although you were in the right for doing it, he is kind of after you. So you just say, fuck it, and you leave. You exile yourself from the Far East. You figure the further west you go, the further away from his reach you could get. Which, as a player, you could just, you know, kind of embrace the whole Asian culture thing, and that is where you're from, and that is what you do. So Asian person in, you know, Europe, in, you know, wherever you are, and that could be really cool. And then the GM could pull into it that maybe he's a trader. It's a noble, or maybe, you know, he's a trader, so he has resources. So the noble's grudge follows you to the west, to the, the Sword Coast, or wherever in the Forgotten Realms you go. So that could play into it if you want to embrace that background more. So it's, as a player, you could embrace the whole Asian culture thing, and you take off your shoes when you enter a building and stuff like that. I don't know a whole lot. I only really know what I've seen on TV or in movies. I am very ignorant about it, but I don't claim otherwise. I don't say that I'm knowledgeable. So when building this character, do all of that research. Figure all of that stuff out. Like actual research. Don't just be like, meh, I saw it on a movie and that's how it is. And then that's kind of how to play your character. And your character, there's some things and you realize you're in a different land, so you're not going to... It's not, somebody coming to your land and your lands and walk into your house without their shoes on, and that's, you can kill them. You're in somebody else's lands, you're in somebody else's house, different lands, different rules. So kind of fish out of water thing. You're trying to figure out how things go. Ironically, that's kind of what 100% ironically, my Monday game, I'm a lobster. It's an underwater game. I'm a lobster, or a Nephros, which is like a humanoid lobster that my brother made. And we're actually in Kalimshan, and so I'm like eating things because there's rocks and plants and stuff, and I'm a literal fish out of water, because I'm amphibious, so I can breathe air. But I can't talk to anybody. I have no idea what's going on. So that'd be a good thing. And the GM, flip side for the GM, is he can drag plot hooks into it, throw things at the party. Maybe at some point you have to go back east to settle this debt. But now you have this group of people with you to do it. So it's kind of up to the GM to kind of play into it. Yeah. So that would be pretty exciting. And last, I went with... Alright, oh yeah, this is the one that I actually fully am only in the player's handbook, because both of those were pretty much not even remotely near the player's handbook. So I'll go with the archetype first. Eldritch Knight. You are, an arc combines the martial mastery with careful study of magic. They're in the Forgotten Realms. There is one place. There are a couple places where this makes sense, but there's also one land where this makes... Maybe it's because I'm playing a character from there, but where it makes the most sense. Being an Eldritch Knight from Thay. Because of how magic the society is. There are other societies where magic is a big part of it, like, I want to say Waterdeep, or Neverwinter? Well, there's the Wizard College, they have a lot of say, but wizards are pretty much the rulers in Thay. There's no, like, they're kind of part of it. They are the rulers. They let, non-mages kind of take care of the menial tasks, such as dealing with, government bullshit. So this character is from Thay. So, and I also went... Just had a criminal background. So, young age... I know it's all orphaned things, but to be fair, considering what happened during the Spell Plague, there was a huge war, lots of people died, so there's valid reasons for... Or maybe something happened and your family lost its magic, and so or something, so you had to resort to stealing. But you are criminal. You kind of ran the streets, and at some point you were desperate and you tried stealing from a red wizard. You were caught, but not as early as you should have been. You got past some magical traps, or further into the domicile of the wizard than he would have, or she, because, they're female, they would have liked. So you... angered but impressed at the same time the wizard, and so they took you in. Because, I mean, you don't have to be old. You could be, maybe you're like I don't know, maybe you're orphan at like 6 or 7, and you kind of were running the streets, and you kind of made a little name for yourself, and uh, you got, when you were like 10 or 11, you got picked up by the Red Wizard, adopted, as it were. And they sent you, because there are specific knights. I cannot remember what they're called, but they're like the Red Knights. They are specific bodyguards for Red Wizards. And like there are guards, much like there are politicians, but then specifically for Thayan Red Wizards, you call me a Thayan Red Wizard? You call me a non-Thayan Red Wizard. For Red Wizards, they have their own specific guard that are trained and die for them. So you were trained as such and raised with it as this Red Wizard's bodyguard. And this could, once again, or you could slightly tweak it. So maybe, and then why are you adventuring, or why are you joining the group? You don't necessarily have to be an evil group, and especially because if you're supposed to be protecting a Red Wizard. So this plays in if you are playing, I would say this is very specific, because there's no reason, although maybe your Red Wizard died and you ran away or something, and you had to escape because you were being essentially shunned for letting your wizard die. Could be one thing, and maybe that's why you're out of Thay, or what the hell, whatever. But this would be a great character to build around having a Red Wizard in the group. You, like my Sunday game, my wizard, which I've talked about in the first episode about human wizards. But this one's evocation, because abjuration and evocation, because protection and fighting. But for Eldritch Knight anyway. So maybe it's not even that you joined, maybe it's an older Red Wizard, and while he was raising you, he had a son who was going to the wizard school, and so you and another player kind of have intertwining backgrounds. So if somebody had tried breaking into my house, and my mom isn't a Red Wizard, neither is my father, but changing slight backstory, somebody broke into my house, they're orphaned, so they decided to adopt them. So it's kind of an adoptive brother for my character, who was trained specifically because, you have a certain level of ability, but you're way past the age where they would want to send you to wizard school. Plus, they already have a wizard in the family, or more. They have 2. They have their successive line. They don't need this adoptive, because they can't prove your family line. So you could be some rabble, some commoner. Because Red Wizards are elitist douches, except for mine. So you were trained so that you can protect your adoptive brother. And, there could be... It really depends on how you as a player and the other player want to do it. You could be... It's your job, you were raised, and you take it seriously, but you hate him, because he's a pompous douche. And so maybe, that wizard's pompous, and you're angry at him, and so you guys kind of butt heads all the time. And he lets you get away, but then, you'd be like, all right, I'm a Red Wizard. He's like, all right, I'm a Red Wizard. Or they are like, I'm a Red Wizard. And you're like, shit, okay. But you're evil, so you could be like, yeah, screw you, and run away. So, that could be what happened if you want to be outside of Thay, like I said. But joining a game, kind of coordinate with another player. You and the other player kind of have shared backgrounds. So you can know each other. Justified reason for 2 characters to know each other and kind of intermingle backstories, which would be really cool. Because, it would be like if you're best friends, you and your best friend, are playing in the game, and you wanna create characters. So they play Red Wizard, you play an Eldritch Knight. you know, or you're training towards Eldritch Knight. So you wear the red armor. Your armor is red. You're not allowed to wear the red robe, but you can wear the red armor. And then it would make sense. Although there are ranks, so maybe. Well, I don't. It's one of those. You're probably not officially a red knight yet, and they're not officially a red wizard to start with because you have to earn the rank. So maybe you kind of go off together to gain some experience so that you can earn your ranks, and then you can play in the politics that I say with all of that. Or maybe, or you go off adventuring, never to come back, or whatever. It's really up to you as a player and the other player. So this would be a good backstory to combine, or a good character to combine with a red wizard, obviously. But it doesn't have to be that way. It could be from some other city. It's just red wizard. I like the idea of Eldritch Knights being red knights for the wizards of Thay. So you could be from a different area. If you want to kind of change it up, you were captured by some evil wizard. He trained you, or you were trained to protect him. Maybe he died, and you hated. You didn't hate him, but he adopted you. So maybe you now are trying to find his killer, and that's kind of how you jump into the game if you want to play solo, because you're evil. So you're gonna kill him because you're not gonna like bring justice and get them in jail. No, you're gonna kill him because you're evil. That's what you do. So, yeah, that is it for this episode. Please like, subscribe, comment, like and comment. Make sure you hit the bell to get notifications about when my future videos go up, which is every week at noon on Sunday is when Eastern Standard Time, because I'm in New England, is when the character inspiration videos go up. If you like this, you can also hopefully check out my other videos. I have gaming videos. It's pretty much what I'm doing. Maybe if I get enough, if this ever takes off, I can do more creative things and make other videos. But yeah, if you want me to do something specific, next week will be what's after fighter? Druid. Great. Not a huge fan of druids. Next week will be Druid. If you want me to do something else, if you want me to do different race, different class combination, somebody asked me to do half-orc paladin, so that's why there's a half-orc paladin randomly in there instead of a human paladin. And it's out of order because somebody wanted me to do it. So if you like it and you want me to do something specific because you're playing in a game or you're going to join a game, or you're like, I'm thinking barbarian, I don't know what to do. Maybe halfling barbarian or tiefling barbarian, or I can come up with a couple options for different characters. So thanks for watching, and as always, I'll catch you guys next time. Cav out.